mining town. Most folks thought that up was down. We all lived and gave our soul, did it all smoking coal.
In the small community of Diamond, Ohio, stands the Stagecoach Inn. Recognized as a historical landmark in 2002 by the state of Ohio, the building has seen its share of hard times. The claims of paranormal activity within the building include disembodied voices, shadows, apparitions, cabinet doors opening on the third floor all on their own, and most commonly objects that are mysteriously tossed at those who are brave enough to enter. Some have even reported making contact with one or more of the tormented spirits at the inn. One said spirit that is rumored to reside within the historic Stagecoach Inn is that of a murdered slave known only as Joe. Reported interaction with the spirit known as Joe and unusual activity thought to be caused by the spirits of young children is not uncommon at the inn. Some of the previous owners of the inn include the Geiger sisters and the Wilson family. We as investigators wonder if the spirits of these past owners ever truly left the inn, if for some reason they chose to remain here after death. What would their reason be? Could it be to relay a message or possibly to reveal a dark secret about the inn's past? Although our team was unable to obtain any historical documentation confirming some of the popular local legends regarding the Stagecoach Inn, we firmly believe the numerous incredible experiences that have been shared to us by our fellow paranormal investigators. All that have investigated or visited the inn seem to note that there's a paranormal presence inside the building. We were about to find out firsthand just how true that statement really was. Alright, so I'm here with Shawn, Mike, Marianne, and you guys have had some pretty cool personal experiences here. You've investigated and you've also captured some pretty cool evidence or findings. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We've gotten great EVPs, with the digital recorders for the SP7 to the Ovilus. The building's never let us down.
Linda Dix, you're a pretty popular psychic medium, and you've had some interesting experiences here at the Stagecoach Inn, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And from what I understand, it was right here in front of this door.
Yes, it was. My first encounter was here when I felt drawn to the door.
Okay.
And when I opened it, I had a spirit of a man come through. He was a very large black man, and he kind of come through. He told me that his name was Joe, and I was trying to get more information out of him because I thought he was out of place for here. But it turned out that, from what he told me, he was a runaway slave, and this was a stop on the Underground Railroad. He kind of got stuck here, and I don't understand the circumstances. However, he said that he had an affair with a white woman.
He did?
Yes. When that was found out, the white woman changed the story and said that she was attacked. I understand back then, the taboo and all that stuff.
Of something of that nature?
Right.
Okay.
And she didn't want her husband to know.
Okay.
So if it was an attack and it wasn't her fault, then she could still keep her face. She wouldn't lose face in the community, basically.
Right. This was against her will sort of thing, so
right.
I'm
not responsible.
Exactly right.
Unfortunately for Joe, that led to him being lynched almost immediately. And he was lynched on a tree back in the back there. He was right straight out back, and even though he can go to the light, he doesn't trust what's in the light. And that's why he's kind of stuck here. And I found it really interesting when I was trying to encourage him to go into the light, that it's okay, you can move on. He point blank looked at me and said, "Even white women lie."
So when we were here in June, during one of our sessions, Mike was asking, who threw that walnut when we were here before? Was it you, Wanda? No. Was it you, Cletus? Was it you? And I think it came back and it said, it's Wanda.
Yeah, because we asked, well, was it you, Mary? We went down the line, and then we got a voice going, it's Wanda.
Tim, you've had an interesting experience in this area right here, I'm told.
Right. In this area, I had an experience where I had a definite presence. Not only did I have the tingling, but it was like part of my breath was knocked out of me.
Okay, and you and I know each other, so I know that you are sensitive to EMFs. Is that correct?
Right.
So you're standing over here and you're starting to feel these sensations, we'll call them. So it could have been that a spirit was possibly manifesting or something to cause you to feel this way.
Right, something was manifesting behind me, and also it felt like there was a definite touch on my shoulder.
So something, like, could you show on me, like, how did that feel? How much pressure did you feel?
A good amount of pressure.
Wow, that's like 2 pounds of pressure almost, enough to
Right.
definitely let you know that
Definitely
something
surprised me.
Yeah.
In the living quarters, I was in there with 2 other ladies, Andrea and Laura. And I had an obelisk in there. I had that in the center of the room on the floor. And we were doing some flashlight sessions and talking back and forth. And we were trying to get it to turn on the flashlight, and it said no. And then one other time, we were just talking about different things, and the obelisk said train.
Okay.
And there's a train station that's not too far from here, and a lot of the individuals who came to the Stagecoach Inn back in the day came from train. So I thought that was interesting. I asked, did you come here on the train?
Right.
I didn't get any response to that. But then when we were done with that session, we were doing our thank yous and picking up our equipment and things, and the obelisk goes, cut. Like, okay, we're done here. Cut. We're done.
Leon DeJeff and Linda Dix, you both had quite an amazing experience right here in this area on the 2nd floor by this staircase here. Tell me a little bit about it.
I was coming around the corner by the banister, and Linda had turned around, I guess to say something or look at me, and I heard something hit the floor right at my feet.
Hit the floor, but didn't hit you necessarily?
No, it didn't hit me.
So something was probably trying to get your attention.
Probably, yes.
And it was like, it was a nut like this. Kind of like this right here.
Yeah, pretty similar to that.
Very similar to that. Dave's probably put them around as like decorations, so like little souvenirs or little trigger objects to help encourage the interaction between the investigators and the spirits. All right, Amber, you're with EctoVision Paranormal, and normally we don't interview our own people about locations that we're about to investigate, but you were here and you conducted an investigation with Lone Wolf Paranormal Investigation, and you had a personal experience in this area. Is that right?
Yes.
What happened to you?
We were doing a spirit circle where you call upon the spirits that are around the area. So we sat down to do EVPs and bring the spirits to us. I all of a sudden started feeling, sensitive on my right side.
Like goosebumps?
Like goosebumps, chills,
Hair
like
standing
somebody
up.
was touching me.
Well,
just softly.
you're actually sensitive to activity, aren't you?
I am. So I can feel usually when things are around, I get chills.
Would you call yourself an empath or more like psychic?
Kind of in between. Because sometimes I can see things, sometimes I just feel things. It all depends on the building itself, or if they want me to feel them. This particular time, I all of a sudden got the urge to start crying, and I was crying uncontrollably as I feel, something on my right arm. I was sitting in the chair. Stephanie informed me that there was a little girl here who had attached herself to me. She thought I was her mother. Her mother's name, according to Stephanie, was Amber Elizabeth. She frequented the speakeasy. The little girl was looking for her mother, and I apparently looked like her. So I was feeling this little girl's emotions.
We had the IR cameras. We had one in here, one we call it the walnut cam.
Right.
That's where that walnut hit the wall so hard, it bounced off the wall, and you see it spin on the floor.
Wow. So we set a camera.
Yeah.
And
They didn't want to play this.
They didn't want to play.
So Tim, another interesting thing happened to you on the 3rd floor here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What happened in this area that you led us to?
All right. We were trying to do some EVPs in this area, me and 2 other investigators. Right. And one of them, after we were done with that part, one of them made a joke, and we were laughing and just making general comments, and we heard this very loud noise that sounded like a rock. It could have been one of the nuts that are all over this place, but there wasn't any screaming, there wasn't any real noise to accompany with it, so it didn't like it didn't like the fact that we were making jokes in its area, so it was a definite noise and nothing behind that, no other thing, so it definitely was a good startle for us.
You guys know, there's no electric up here.
Right.
On this floor. So when we came up to do our EVP session, I set the K2 meter down right here on this table.
Okay.
And it was fluctuating about halfway, 3/4 the whole time we were doing our EVP session.
Where would the source of that?
That's what I was the whole time. I'm looking around. Where is this coming from?
Right.
There's some electrical lines and that kind of thing.
But nothing. Yeah, it's not going to cause the K2 to
Right
go
towards
off.
the end of our session, it dropped completely down as if something just got up.
When you were done. So the whole time it was like interacting with you, and then
It's
when
like
you
somebody
stopped,
was sitting right here
Stop.
playing cards with
Because
us.
Shawn was sitting like where you were, I was still sitting right here, and K2 was right here, like somebody was been sitting up here trying to play some cards with us,
So I thought maybe the battery went dead or something on the K2. I took the walkie-talkie and squished right on it and spiked right back up, so the K2 was fine.
So this is the spiral staircase leading up to the third floor, and you had an experience here with Rachel when you were on your other investigation with Lone Wolf Paranormal.
Yes. Stephanie was first, then Rachel, and then me. And as we turned this corner, Stephanie was first and Rachel, and we were just turning to go around this corner, and as I turned this corner, something went past me and literally shoved me into this corner to where I bruised my arm, and I caught myself on Rachel so that I didn't fall down the stairs.
See, now that, I don't know what that could be, because most of the activity that's taken place here has been reported as being kind of,
Right.
pleasant and playful. This almost seems aggressive.
This was aggressive. It was very forceful. We must have upset the woman. We later, Stephanie verified that her name was Sadie. And she didn't care for me very much, or Rachel, because we were joking around. And Stephanie verified, because she is a psychic sensitive,
Right.
that the woman's name was Sadie, and she supposedly took care of the hotel downstairs. And we were disrespecting her,
Her establishment.
and that's how she saw us. We were in different clothes, we were being disrespectful, basically. She didn't know why we were here and interrupting her space, and she just shoved me against the thing as we walked down.
And did it leave a mark of some
It did
sort?
leave a mark on my arm right here.
Oh, it's still kind of right there a little
The
bit.
mark's still there. I had a big bruise across here that lasted for about 2 weeks. It showed up. I mean, it's still there, but it showed up pretty prominent right after. So, yeah, luckily Rachel was there. She caught me. So.
And what did Rachel think about it? Did she pick up on anything?
She did. The woman called us not so nice names.
Okay.
She called Rachel a cow.
And what did she call you?
She called me a simple.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Probably because, I was joking. I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but apparently I was the one that irritated her the most, so.
Once having heard all the highly credible experiences from each person that we interviewed, our team was ready to plan out our investigation. Knowing some of the challenges that were ahead of us, we decided to ask Marcus Haug of Paranormal Films to help us out, as well as investigator Tim Javorsky of Lone Wolf Paranormal Investigation. Our first camera was set up in the saloon where footsteps and other strange noises had been heard from up above. On a hunch, Tom suggested that we place a camera down in the basement, hoping to catch activity in an area that is not investigated quite as often. Moving to the second floor, we placed a camera in the Bible room where the spirit known as Joe is said to spend most of his time. Our next camera was stationed in the living room, where the shadow of a woman wearing a dress has been seen on multiple occasions. Then we moved over to the living quarters and placed a camera with the idea that we might be able to catch a single anomaly from 2 different angles.
Proceed with caution.
On the third floor, we positioned a camera in the old kitchen facing the cabinets to see if we could capture one of them opening on their own. And lastly, we decided to set up our thermal in the meeting room where the Knights of Pythias once met, but is now said to have the most activity.
While I was reviewing the evidence from the third floor where the Knights of Pythias had their meeting hall, early in the evening the thermal camera picked up an EVP. This seemed to be a woman singing. I'm not sure what she was singing, but she sure was happy whatever she was singing about.
And I wasn't there yet. The only other woman that was there was down on the first floor, and her voice is deeper than that. And so I have no idea where the voice came from. They had just set up the camera.
What's really compelling to me about this finding is that the ladies weren't even in the building yet. And plus, I checked every single camera that we had set up. It didn't come up on one of them.
I have no explanation for it. It was on the third floor, and we weren't there. So who was the girl singing?
I'm wearing this hat right now, and the reason that I'm wearing this hat is because we feel like it actually might help get us into the spirit of some of the activity here that goes on at the Stagecoach Inn. Huh?
Mine too.
Yeah, look at this ensemble here. Very nice.
Ready to mine some coal.
So, we're gonna head up.
I had a, what the heck was that moment? I couldn't believe it.
The first time I saw this clip, I was like, holy crap. But after further review, I'm sorry, it was a great catch by Tom, but it was Tim's flashlight.
That was a bummer. The basement. What can we say about the basement? Nobody was down there, and yet the unexplained happened.
One thing I've really found particularly interesting about this clip is that there was a sound that matched up with the way that the light or strange anomaly appeared.
I mean, cars were driving by all night. If that were a car passing by, you would think that it would happen multiple times. This is the only time that it happened. I try to debunk it. That's part of my job and what I do. I can't debunk this.
There was no reason for that to happen. There was nothing going on down there. There was no one down there. And we couldn't find a reason for it.
You can't explain it? Can you? While reviewing the living quarters static cam, we came across this EVP. Gotta classify it as a Class A.
I was really surprised. That was a pretty amazing EVP that we caught. And it clearly says Mary.
This EVP kind of shocked me when I heard it. It's got that real scary kind of sound to it, but what was the most interesting thing, nobody was around when it was captured. We have no explanation for where this sound came from. It was just there.
Here is something else I could not debunk. This is a Class A EVP. Fantastic find, once again, by Tom.
Mary. Wow. That was cool. The group that had been investigating in the slave Bible room decided to come downstairs into the safe room. While approaching the stairway and starting down the steps, Eric had thought he heard an EVP. But we're not sure if he did or not.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
I didn't hear
A
anything.
whisper.
The whisper, yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't you, Tim?
No, it wasn't. That was
Oh my gosh, something just said no.
that was me.
Oh, that was you with the
Yeah,
whisper,
yeah.
no? Okay. Okay, so
Both
no
heard
was
sounds
Tim,
at the
but
same
before
time.
that, we don't know what that was.
Put my corner in the pocket. I'm excited.
Watch the cables.
I just
I
felt
am.
something
Woo!
right
What the hell was
God.
that?
Did you just feel something right there?
Yeah. I'm excited.
Watch the cables.
I just
I
felt
am.
something
Woo!
right
What the
there.
hell was
God.
that?
Did you just feel something right there?
Yeah. Didn't you see me fall backwards?
Did something just run by us?
I think so. Did you catch that?
I don't know. This light like went forward
Oh.
on me.
That was
Did that light
weird.
just move on you?
It was like right here and it shifted.
I just heard you guys.
That was
What-
weird.
what
Did you
if-
feel pushed forwards?
What had happened?
I got
was
pushed backwards.
I felt absolute cold behind me. She was pushed back, and I think his light moved. Okay. I was halfway down the steps,
was
and I had to
weird.
stop because it was that cold. It was that. Wow. Yeah. Something just brushed by.
Alrighty. Let's try this
First.
again. Because right as you said, watch those cables, something like pushed me into the wall. That was weird. Whew. Okay.
You know that moment in an investigation when you're in the safe room and you're relaxing and resting, and then your teammates come down and like, oh my gosh, I just had the coolest thing happen, oh my gosh, and you're totally jealous. That's this moment for me.
But all of a sudden you hear this whoosh. And Amber gets pushed. Rollins' camera gets moved. And Tim feels a rush of cool air down the steps.
What's really interesting is that the whoosh is captured on the camera over by Boo Bear. It's captured on Rollins' camera, but it's not captured on the Bible room camera. And that camera was literally 10 feet away from them. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
It kind of scared me a little. We felt a big rush of cold air go through us, and it actually knocked the air out of me. I have chills even just thinking about it, just sitting here. So yeah, it was pretty intense.
This to me is so compelling and so exciting that we are able to capture this and share it, because I've never seen anything like this before.
I'm excited.
Watch the cables.
I just
I
felt
am.
something
Woo!
right
What
there.
the hell was
God.
that?
Did you just feel something right there?
Yeah.
We were all up in the safe room taking a break. And all of a sudden, the motion detector from the basement goes off.
When I heard that motion detector go off down in the basement, Marcus and I immediately ran down there to check it out. Hello?
You know what's doing? It's starting to, it's probably going to amplify now. It's probably...
We have no explanation why it did it. We just know it did.
Here's the funny thing. We're not sitting at all.
No, it was something in that room.
Now we did.
That's us. We were upstairs in the safe room, and while we were upstairs, our motion detector went off. And we immediately came down here to try to see what it was. I mean, obviously, the camera was rolling, so we'll be able to see if, it was something like an animal or something that walked in front of it. But right now, we're not sure what exactly happened. So we're kind of anxious to go over the evidence to see if it was something, something like a rat.
And so we all ran downstairs to see what may have caused the motion detector to go off. And we found absolutely nothing, not a footprint, not any sort of movement in the dirt at all. And even during the evidence review, I couldn't find anything. I even went to other cameras. I thought something, but I don't know what it could have been. I tried to figure it out. I could not figure it out for the life of me.
Nobody was down there, so we're just at a loss for an explanation.
It was great to have Tim Javorsky of Lone Wolf Paranormal Investigation and Marcus Haug of Paranormal Films along with us. It was just great to see how other people and other teams investigated a building like this.
The Stagecoach Inn was awesome. We got pretty much everything you could hope for from this investigation. We had mists forming, we had EVPs, people were pushed. It's like you get everything in this small little building.
So if you're looking to have a good time and have some crazy experiences, the Stagecoach Inn, that's the place to be.
I love checking out new places, and I love checking out, just showing people that there is another side to things out there, that there are things going on that we can't explain. And being a part of that and getting to experience it and showing other people that they can experience it too. And showing them places that they can go to experience those things. That's my favorite part of doing this.
I think it's important that buildings like this, with this age, get, they get restored or they stay preserved, because, these places will disintegrate and disappear, get torn down way before anybody else could keep that history recorded or we'd have a chance to investigate. It's not only about having paranormal experiences, but about learning and, that history itself. That's just as enjoyable.
Having the building here kind of encourages people to learn about the history.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
If we destroy the building, sometimes the history goes away with it.
Oh, it goes with it, yeah.
You can tell that this at one time was a beautiful building. Some of the woodwork that's still intact is stunning. It'd be really beautiful to fix it up back to what it was in the 1830s.
And we lose all of that history, we lose all of that architecture, all of those old building designs. And let's face it, the buildings of today, they are not the most beautiful. Yeah. Some of these old buildings, just the design themselves, like wow. And for those not to be available anymore because they became in such disrepair that they were demolished, that's just such a sad state of affairs. And if we as investigators can go and investigate the locations and the owners of those buildings use that money that we give them for investigating to renovate those buildings and make them stay in the population for a long time, that's just fantastic.
I'm a psychic medium and I do those things, but I'm also what's called a living historian.
Okay.
And my husband and I portray a trapper and his wife circa 1806 in the Black Swamp, which is Northwest Ohio.
Okay.
So history is always very important to us because we like to keep it alive in children's minds.
Yeah.
So anytime something historical can be preserved or brought back, we feel it's a benefit to the community, especially the younger generation.
They'll end up torn down or gone, and we won't know the history that's tied to those buildings or that within that area.
Perfect.
All right. Yep.
Now get out!
All right.
Thanks, Tim. Come in. How about this? Does that work for you?
That was
Do
insane.
the Wolverine.
Insane.